PWCC is a great way to sell your sports cards. If you're looking for a way to support the Cajun Cardboard YouTube channel, consider using the promo code CAJUN, all caps, CAJUN, when you're selling your cards on the PWCC marketplace. I'm flattered and thrilled to announce that I've got Nat Turner join me on the show today. I reached out to Nat asking if he would be interested in discussing the cards that are part of the Tier 1, the 27 cards that appear in Tier 1 of the Cajun Cardboard Michael Jordan Hierarchy. I thought to myself, who better to talk about these 27 cards than Nat Turner? I don't know which ones he owns. I'm sort of excited about this. I'm recording this introduction ahead of time. So sit back and relax and enjoy. As you can see from the thumbnail, we're not talking about PSA. We're not talking about business. We're not talking about the future of the hobby. We're not talking about turnaround times. We're freaking talking about Michael Jordan cards. And we're talking about 27 of the best Michael Jordan inserts and parallels from the 90s with the great Nat Turner. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Hey guys, Brian with Cajun Cardboard coming at you from the great state of Louisiana, and I have a very, very special guest today, the CEO of Collectors, Nat Turner, and a monster collector and a huge Jordan aficionado is joining the show. Nat, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Brian.
Nat has bugged me for months upon years about coming on the show, and finally I gave in and I was like, you know what, fine, I'm busy, but I'm going to let you come in the show. I'll give you an hour. That's all you're going to get. And then that's kind of how we got here. If anybody believes that, they know I'm being sarcastic. But Nat, I do appreciate you taking the time. You've responded to my messages over the years when I've had questions about stuff on a higher level than I normally collect, and you've always been real gracious with your time. So I appreciate you giving me another hour today on the channel.
No, of course. Always happy to talk cards.
Well, I'm excited, and I've talked to you, before we clicked record, and you're pretty excited, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. We're here today to talk about something that I've kind of come up with that I think is going to be a nice tool for the hobby, especially for newer collectors, those collectors that are sort of new or considering jumping into the Jordan card collecting from the 90s world that we live in. And it's called the MJ hierarchy, the Michael Jordan card hierarchy. And I've kind of put it together, and I'm still working on the back end of it. But one thing that is finished, Nat, and we've talked about, and what we're here to talk about today is, and I'll screen share real quick, is this Tier 1. We're here to talk about these cards, these 27 cards that are on the screen. Every single one of these cards, I know, I'm going to zoom a little bit there, but every one of these cards, I know you know, and we know what the first question is going to be. But before I ask you the question that you know I'm going to ask you, and everybody's going to want to hear the answer to, let me just talk real quick about these rules, okay? Because I don't want star card, people with pitchforks and torches. I don't want, game jersey auto collectors to come at me and try to, find out where I live. There's a couple rules, okay? 324 cards is a lot. It could have been 1,000, so I had to get rid of a few. Here's the rules real fast. No base cards other than the star and the Jordan 86 Fleer 57. No autograph cards, no memorabilia cards. No cards post 2000. I did decide to include 1999, even though it wasn't a playing year, because I thought it was important. No foreign or oddball cards. No Yugoslavian cards. No Spanish stickers. No baseball cards at all. Only Michael Jordan basketball cards. Only Bulls uniform cards, or Olympic, sometimes Olympic jersey cards. I treated members only, and this is not going to apply to Tier 1 that we're looking at, but members only, first day issue, and plus, like Scoring Kings Plus and stuff like that. I treated them one and the same because I didn't want to dedicate a separate picture, Nat, to each one of those in the project because it would take up too much space. With coding, without coding. By the way, where do you stand on that, with or without coding? And I know you're going to say both.
Yeah, I don't really care, but for my collection, I prefer with.
With. Okay. Well, I'm still going to we're going to keep recording, even though I disagree. Atomic and regular. We kind of talked about this before I came on, Nat. All the pictures that you're going to see, I think throughout this project are going to show the atomic. But again, I didn't really want to, I don't want to say waste, but include another picture of the same card in the regular refractor because it would take up a lot of space. I'm still on the fence with that, and I'm going to think through that and maybe change that up as we go. So you're going to see a bunch of atomic refractors. Again, probably not today because we're talking only about the first 27. No MJ exclusive sets, like none of those serial numbered MJ only sets where you're getting an MJ. And then here's the sad part, right, for you. No one-on-one masterpieces, man. So I didn't include them because – in the video that actually comes out on July 5th, I basically just talk about them like they don't really exist for most human beings. So they're not included in here because it would take up a third of the first picture pretty much. And then the last rule is, and this one sucks because I want to share all these awesome pictures of Jordan cards, but one for all. Topps Gold, power boosters, Topps Chrome, and Topps sometimes have duplicate inserts, Upper Deck holograms. There's a bunch of them. I just did a one picture to represent all of those. So when you look at it, getting down, further into the lower level tiers, you're only going to see one picture of like a Topps Gold. You're not going to see all 5 or 6 or 7 or however many there are. Same thing with wrapper redemptions. And I put et cetera because there's other examples of that. And so those are the rules, Nat. Does any of that stuff make sense?
It all makes sense. Yeah. I mean, there are obviously exceptions. Like you see Ultra Stars, there's gold and regular, but I mean, the regular one wouldn't make, the main list. But, perhaps. But I was saying like Atomic, there's a bunch of cool inserts, not a bunch, like 3 or 4 that like I personally distinguish the refractor from the Atomic as like 2 very different cards. But sure. maybe you'll like Best Cuts from 96 Bowman's Best, but you're the boss. So
you're going to have to tune in. You're going to have to watch. You're going to have to watch every episode.
Yeah, totally.
And I'm not going to spoil it, but I assure you, you're going to see the Bowman's Best Cut.
Well, you the one for all. I mean, like the legacies down there. Like those are from the same year, but like
if the card is important enough, you got to break that last rule, right?
Totally.
Platinums, legacies, they're different cards. They look different. They're different cards. So I had to have some wiggle room and some gray area, and we're going to talk about those legacies in a second.
The truth is with Flair, it's like 4 different sets in one. So
exactly. So, the first question it's a no-brainer. It's a softball question. There's 20. We've got 9 times 3 is 27. We got 27 cards on the screen. You know what I'm going to ask you? How many of the 27?
What do I have?
Yes. Do you have?
Let me see. Hold on.
You probably could have done this research before we started.
Yeah, you could have asked me, but hold on.
I'm going to guess.
I have all but one.
And can I guess which one you don't have?
Yeah.
Starting 5.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. So
actually, technically, I don't have a star right now because I sold my XRC. It was a BGS 9. Well, I actually traded it years ago for a PMG Red. Okay. And I've yet to find a copy that I have. So I do own it. The reason I'm qualifying is I have a team bag with that on top. So I don't have a graded version of it. But
you have it then. It doesn't matter. And that's the other thing that we need to talk about here. Like I'm a grade snob, and I know you like to collect it in the highest grade, preferably PSA. But there's some incredible Jordan collectors in the world that collect these things in raw, and they'll crack them out of cases just to have them raw, which blows my mind. But if you've got it in a team bag, then you got the card. I mean, it is what it is. Yeah. The reason I guess starting 5 is obvious. Why don't you tell people watching why you don't have a starting 5? Well, let's start with 1. It's serial number to 5, but is the major reason is it's just tough to spot real and fake?
Well, I've actually never had a chance to buy what I consider to be a real one. Yeah. Believe it or not. So like I've had 2 offered to me. Both of them and with helps of friends like 90s Wax and stuff, Brendan, like I've felt like they were inauthentic. One was raw, one was graded, but yeah, I just honestly that card to me, like it's your list, it's very indistinguishable from the base other than the starting 5 silver logo. I mean, at PSA, we have a ton of knowledge on like the font and the kerning and the everything to decipher. And even we sometimes get it wrong. Yeah. And like, in other words, it's not that different from the base to me where I'm like, holy crap, I need that card.
Right.
If it was like a hollow finish or something, I would have loved Hoops to have done that, but they didn't. But I mean, it's from a rarity perspective, it deserves to be on here. It's just, you nailed it. It's just like, there's too much controversy on that card for me.
I talked with Josh about this card. We talked about the exact same deal. Like it looks just like a base card. It's quite possible 4 of the 5 were either thrown in the trash. It was $1.
Which is actually super cool.
Yeah, it was $1 pack. Yeah, that's what makes it so crazy, right? So they could be in the trash. They could be in somebody's, long white boxes with their other Hoops cards from that year. It just looks identical, and it's real easy if you're opening 100 of these packs in a day, which a lot of people probably did. You flip it and put it in the stack with the other Jordan base cards, and you never know it's there. So I put it in tier 1. Josh and I said, hey, if we had to move one card out of here, we both agreed that's the card that's going, right? So
yeah, I got to think about which one would be in there otherwise. But I mean, for me, yeah, it's the least inspiring, or like,
agreed.
Holy crap, this is like the coolest card ever. On like every other card on that list, maybe with the exception of the 86 Flair, but you have to put it there because it's the rookie. You look at it and you're like, wow, like that's a piece of art. And yeah. So.
And I'm going to explain this in the intro video, but you and I hadn't had a chance. I use 4 criteria to put this whole thing together, 1 through 324. The 4 criteria are scarcity, value, aesthetics, and demand. Scarcity and value, easy to quantify. It's objective. We can go figure it out right now on Card Ladder, right?
Yeah.
Demand, we can kind of figure it out and work our way backwards into it, but just truly understand the demand is very difficult. And so that leaves a little bit of wiggle room. And I think of all the cards on the screen, the one that more people buy or want to have in their collection is the 86 Fleer, in my opinion, because it's the first card anybody would want if they started collecting Jordan in some level. It might be raw, it might be PSA authentic, whatever.
Yeah.
And then lastly, aesthetics is just as subjective as it gets. And so that's the way I cover my ass. And so if you don't, again, the starting 5 is only on here for 2 reasons: value and scarcity. I don't think it's in high demand, Nat, and I don't think it's aesthetically shocking in any way.
Oh, I totally get it. Yeah, I mean, look, if you're me, I'm just going through my list real quick, but like I would put like the Super Rave from 97 Z-Force or the Ultra Platinum from 97 probably ahead of that, just personally. But like that's the point of these lists, is to have the debate. So.
You're gonna have to watch, man. You got to watch when we talk about tier 2, because look, I put 54 cards in tier 2, so it gets bigger as the pyramid goes down.
I know.
27 here, but the next one's 54, and so we're I'm gonna talk with Josh, and we're just gonna kind of ruminate about which of these cards, if you could move a card into tier 1 and take one out, which ones would you move in? Unquestionably, the Super Rave is one of them.
Or Rave from Thunder too, but or the mythical Super Rave, which
because the Thunder is number 25, right? The 98 Skybox Thunder.
The Super, the Super Rave.
The Super Rave,
is 25. Yeah, the regular Rave is 150, I think.
And then but the yellow Superman Super Rave is numbered to 50.
Yeah. Exactly. But no, I don't think that's similar to this one. Like, I don't think I've never seen an authentic copy of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from Thunder, you mean, from the Thunder Rave from 98?
Right.
Yeah, I've never seen one. I've seen a fake one, or a backdoored one, but I've never seen a real one. And that's another card I do not own. I have the regular Rave out of 150, but yeah. Anyway, there you go.
All right, we're talking about tier 2. They're not even on the screen.
Yeah.
So do this for us. We've got the ability to, even in Louisiana, to share screens here. So share your screen. I think the 2 cards that most people want to see you share with us are both green, okay? And I'll let you figure out which 2 cards we're talking about. I don't care what order. Just pull them up, man. Let's look at them. Let people see them. Some people have never, ever seen these 2 cards. I've never seen either one in person. Of course, I know what both look like, and they're on your screen. But go ahead and screen share. Let me click you in here. And so you're sharing from your collector's vault, which you've probably got some familiarity with. So take us along on this journey about these 2 green cards that matter so much.
I grew up in Louisiana for like 8 years, so you can't.
We talked about that.
You're insulting yourself too, or me. So I don't have all my cards in the vault. So basically what I'm doing is as I'm buying new cards on eBay or wherever, Golden, I'm vaulting them. And we talked about this. And as I'm grading things, I'm vaulting them.
Yeah.
I have yet to ship things just because I'm waiting for the national where I'm going to bring things. Or I may just drive down to Delaware at some point. So the cards in here, like the Jordans, are either ones I've purchased or crossed over or graded when they were raw. So that's what you're seeing here. So yeah, so I do not have the PMG green in the vault, but I did recently cross over the Credentials Now.
That's the one.
This card's super special to me, obviously to everybody, but yeah, the color. So this is the last. It's the 09. It's upside. The serial numbers are upside down on the Jordan. So it's 09 out of 09.
I was about to say 60. I was like, you got a fake, Nat. You got a fake one in your vault.
No. These were always when the Jordans were flipped upside down. But I bought this one as a BGS 9 from an awesome collector, Lou, who I think a lot of people may remember from Jordan cards. He sold me he was kind enough to sell me, I forget how many, but it was a handful of cards I really needed, like the Skybox, Team Skybox Rubies from 97. Yeah. But this was the biggest one I bought from him. And yeah, very happy I did. But yeah, so this is reholder. Well, it was crossed over and it's in our new holder, PSA's new holder, where the cards, we were talking about this before we got on, the cards, the EX are slightly thicker. So the Jordan, it's actually a cutout piece of cardboard that Skybox pasted, I believe, glued on top of the clear plastic, in this case, yellow and kind of pinkish green, clear background. This is actually cardboard too, this part. So you can kind of see the white, trim edges. Yeah. This card has a surface issue, which is what knocked it down from being mint. So it's near mint for that reason. But yeah, it's such a great card.
Can you tell in hand that it's a little bit raised on the Jordan portion?
Oh yeah.
You can't tell in a picture, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I kind of can on your screen, and you can't really on mine, but in hand you can tell.
Yeah, so I mean, I've opened a lot of this product. I mean, as a kid, it was an relatively expensive pack, so I probably only opened maybe 5 or 6 packs from 97, and I probably opened 10 or 15 packs from 98, trying to get the Vince Carter rookie even the year after. But in this card, yeah, so every card, including the base, the credential parallels, they are multi-layered. So the yellow part is a standard, like the Duncan Go Nuts or any of the other clear cards from Fleer Skybox, that's that thickness. But then from the it's awesome design that probably the arenas did, from right of the player it's raised. It's basically a piece of cardboard that's glued on. And yeah, you could tell right away. I mean, the cards, when you stack them, the left side of the cards, there's space visible because the cardboard is elevating the spacing between each card. There were only 2 cards per pack, if I'm remembering, and with a filler, like a little top and bottom, like a white blank cardboard, to make the pack thicker. But yeah, the cards are thick. You can, and I was mentioning the slab because, like, up until a couple of weeks ago or a month, PSA would put these in the really thick holders, like for patch cards, because they're too thick for the standard holder. Right. But we have this new holder. It looks great. You can tell the surrounding of the card it's not frosted. It's frosted, but you can see that it's got this insert, like a different shade of plastic, and that's what the card's resting in. It gives it more space so it doesn't get compressed.
For sure.
Yeah, but anyway, that's that.
So
one.
Tell me, can you share the other green one? You got that? You got access to it in your Flickr?
Let me pull it up in my one sec. All right.
I got you.
Cool. Yeah. So that's I was just looking that up earlier, but there is the PMG green. Mine's altered. When I bought it on eBay.
I remember when you bought it. It would. Yeah, was it like 350, 250? I can't remember.
I think it was like 375 maybe.
375, something like that. Yeah.
I was hoping it's altered, but maybe they just thought it was because it was small. Because the reason I was hoping is because I think like a lot of these cards are actually small.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it is altered. So if you look right here, it's got someone took a razor and basically cut like a bow out of it.
Yeah. Unbelievable. It's unbelievable the thing. It's like putting a mustache on Mona Lisa.
Yeah. To me, it doesn't take away from the card. It's
no, I know. I'm just saying, like, who's got the balls to like mess with they had to have done it before the world really truly understood what it was that they had.
And we see this all the time. Like, we had a PMG red Kobe that came into the National Kids collection, and of course it had some red Sharpie recoloring on it. Like, you see that stuff, because kids would, I think, taking one of their magic markers to it, is a lot easier than like pulling out a razor blade or something. But this card, I don't know when it was trimmed, obviously, but it was graded. It was a guy who, I think from China, he gave, I think 10 or 15 greens. I remember Ray Allen was in there. I'm trying to remember who else, but he basically consigned them at one time. They were all raw, to your earlier point, which is so cool. This one, I since reholdered it after buying it because I wanted to confirm the alteration, like what in fact had happened. And of course, that's what they pointed out. Now that I see it, I'm like, I can't unsee it. But, you know,
tell us, you know, as one of the owners, tell us where there are 9. Am I right on that? There should be 10, but there's 9 from what I've heard.
Yeah. Okay. The rumor is one was destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a rumor because I think there's video evidence. I've never watched it.
I hadn't heard there's video evidence, but
I heard there was, but I don't know who would video that like back in the day. Who would?
Yeah, no, I've never seen a video of it, but yeah, 9 are accounted for. You know, there's a gentleman out there who owns 4 of them. I have 5, and then there are 4 others that are actually really like not really in the U.S. You know, they're out in other places in the world, which is super cool. I think they're all raw, if I'm not mistaken. I actually think might have that wrong. I think one's in BGS, but the guy who owns 4, they're all PSA graded. This one's PSA graded, obviously. Yeah. And a couple of you can't trust the BGS report though, because I don't think the guy who has 4, I think a couple of them were BGS. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure if they were removed from the pop report. I mean, you always have to question pop reports, PSAs as well. For sure. People crack and sub and whatever, but
yeah, we won't know.
Yeah. Like I think at one point there were over 10 graded collectively across PSA and Beckett, which obviously doesn't make sense. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so there's 9. I have not seen the video evidence, but I'm assuming
I haven't either. So there's a rumor that it was destroyed, and there's also a rumor that there was a video. So it's rumors upon rumors.
Well, one was pulled by a guy. You probably know all this, but the PSA. There's 2 PSA Authentics. One Heritage sold during COVID, like I want to say late 2020, sold for like $900,000. And then there was the other PSA Authentic, a guy he bought a box from BBCE, 2 boxes, pulled it in like 2015.
Oh my gosh.
And the guy who owns 4, one of those is the one that I'm referring to. But I saw the card, like pictures before it was graded, and like it was real, man. Like he had stacks of the base cards. He had the box right next to it. And like he actually pulled the freaking card, like whatever that is, 18 years after it was. It's so cool.
Yeah. What's the best card I'm going way off now. Now this is just the Nat Turner interview. What is the best card you've ever pulled? Because you rip a lot of stuff. I see it all the time, and you're like, I got this. And I know you keep a lot of that stuff sealed, Nat, but I know you open too. What's the best card you've ever pulled out of a pack? Is it that Kittles? Is it the Kittles green?
Well, in terms of specialness, so if that's a word. Yeah, but I mean, I kind of have 2 eras of my card collecting. You know, when I was a kid, and now like they're 2 very different periods for my collecting. As a kid, no question, that's the card that I look back and I'm like, yeah, like that's the one that got me hooked, obviously, on the set and everything. But the best card would be this one. I pulled that exact card out of a box of molten metal probably 5 years ago.
Okay.
And it's it's important for me actually, because I had this card at the same time. Oh, wait, not that one. I have that card, but it's now PSA. I can show you in a second if you want. I had this card, which is BGS 95, and a guy in Japan got a Del Curry PMG green out of nowhere. He had it, and I got in touch with him. And the only card he was willing to trade the Del Curry for was this one. And had I not had the other one that I just pulled, I would have said no. Yeah, because
hell no.
Yeah. But I had 2, thank God, because I pulled the other one and I traded him this card for the Del Curry.
That's nuts. That's nuts.
I didn't write it down here, which I need to. It's not in my collection. But anyway, yeah. So that one's, and then I pulled I don't count the Panini stuff, but like Luka Doncic, I pulled a gold out of Donruss Optic, a gold auto Dominators out of 10, which was cool. Duncan go nuts recently, but I haven't had that many like huge pulls, honestly. Like huge meaning like I got like my money back on the box and everything.
Yeah.
Except that one.
So. I got a chance to play against Kerry Kittles in high school. He was my year down here in Louisiana, so we got to play cool. AAU basketball against each other. He was awesome. He was great, you know, being from Louisiana and down in New Orleans, and just a monster player.
For the life of me, I can't remember the serial number
of the Kittles.
Yeah, like I wish I could, but yeah.
What card on this screen means the most to you? Is it? I mean, we can go with one of the 2 that you just showed us, which are, I've got to guess, those are the 2 most valuable cards on the screen, correct?
The now and the green.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that's.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think
No,
I don't think there's really an argument. I think it's probably those two cards. Which one means the most? You got a great story about any of them that, like, which was the first one you picked up? Let me start there. What's the first one of these 27 cards that you remember picking up in your collection?
So I got back into buying Jordan because Jordan stuff's expensive, and I couldn't afford Jordan stuff before 2010.
Yeah.
I didn't really have any Jordans before. I mean, I had like the base card, like my childhood stuff, but I didn't have any big ones until like I maybe bought a couple in 2008, but nothing. So the first one on this list that I bought would have been the PMG Red, which was a BGS 8.5. I ended up having like 3 of those. I had a bunch of them. I remember, I mean, I can tell you a story in every single one of these where I bought it. I mean, I remember every single one of these cards, except the Fleer rookie is boring because I bought a PSA 10 on eBay for like 30 grand, right before it ran up. But yeah, like Lou sold me the Team Skybox. I remember every single card on here.
Is this Lou Costabile? You're talking about Lou Costabile? Yeah. I got a chance to talk with him, and I was like, this guy's nuts, man. He's bullshitting about this, and he used to have this. And then he sent me a link to his old page.
Oh, dude. I
was like, hold on. This dude literally had the greatest Jordan collection in the history of mankind. I was like, this guy's legit. You assume you get messages and stuff. Well, I'm sure you get more than me, but I get messages about, I've got this, I own this. I'm like, okay, buddy, sure you do. And I was like, this guy was legit. And so he got out of cards into cars, apparently.
He bought a Dodge Viper with the money. And he sent me, I hope I'm not saying something you wouldn't wish, but like he sent me a photo, like, thanks for the deal. This is what I got. And we both got what we wanted, and I felt really good about it. And I paid a really strong price at the time.
Sure.
Frankly, overpaid, but that's what you have to do for some of these cards. The Fusion, I had a funny story out of 40, the titanium Fusion. So that card, so at the time I was buying every card in BGS 9.5.
Okay.
Every single one. I didn't have all these in BGS 9.5, but like I got the Future in 9.5. I had the Stark West Gold. I've crossed most of them down. Very few of them crossed to a PSA 10, which is fine. But the Fusion, so this, I had the Playmakers Theater. I still have one, but the Playmakers Theater, mine was a BGS 9. I sent it to Beckett to try and get it bumped to a 9.5. It was close. It got stolen out of the mail. It showed up on eBay from a guy in Dallas. I had other cards in the set in the package, unfortunately, some LeBron. I remember it was a contemporary gold BGS 9 out of 25 and a Patchworks Ruby out of 50 that was raw. So that was my package on the way to Beckett. It got stolen. And that Playmakers Theater showed up on eBay for $2,500. A woman you may remember, well, I don't know if it's a woman, but Amy from Australia. Does that name sound familiar to you?
No.
Okay. So she was a big seller of Jordan cards and 90s big cards at eBay. And so lo and behold, a BGS 9.5 of that card, same serial number, shows up. She's the one selling it on eBay. It's my card. She had bought it on the bin, $2,500, I think, on eBay. Sent it to Beckett like I was trying to do. They bumped it, of course. And so I blow up. I'm on Blowout, all these forums. Like, this is my card. I post on eBay, like, do not buy this card. Like, it's stolen property. And it was complicated because it was Australia. And finally, I just wanted the card. So I was like, look, I'll pay you for the freaking card, even though it's my card. Because I probably will never get it
back.
Pay
you again. Like, I'll pay you.
Yeah, I paid for the card twice.
I'm buying the card twice.
I bought it as a BGS 9, and I paid for it again as a BGS 9.5. And so and she was actually known for like being like scamming some people. And so it was very risky, but I paid it. But anyway, sorry, long story. But like 6 months later, I needed this card, and I hadn't bought a BGS 9 or PSA. The BGS 9.5, she all of a sudden has. And I'm like, oh my God, like I'm going to have to buy this card from this person, who just scammed me basically. And so I had to have it. So I paid her. I was like, please send me this card. Like, do not screw me. And I was at work, and I get the notification FedEx showed up. I get home. I'm expecting nothing to be in the box. I open the box, and it was there. So she sent me the card. I was so happy.
So you bought the gold Fusion from the same lady that sold you back your card that was stolen, hoping that the gold Fusion was legit and also not stolen.
Yeah, well, you could see with a smile on my face, like so much of this hobby is the stories and the fun about it. Like, even if you lost money, it's like that was actually kind of exhilarating. Yeah. But like if it ends well, obviously. But like in that case, it ended well. I got the Playmakers. Actually, really funny story. That Playmakers that I bought as a BGS 9, then bought back as a BGS 9.5. Turns out this whole time was a backdoored copy, which I still own. And so I now have a real copy of PSA 7, but So all of that, nonsense, and it, 10 years later, Brendan or someone else was like, just so you know, Playmakers Theater.
Just so you know, all that trouble and anxiety that you went through. That's right. That's right.
I paid twice for a backdoored card. That's still, but I have it. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'll donate it to a society one day on how to identify bad cards. But yeah. So there you go.
Tell me this, because this was one of the toughest decisions I had to make on this, Nat. As far as you go, and you're just ranking A versus B, the 7 showcase legacy collections that you see on the bottom of our screen here versus the platinum medallions. And I think there's maybe 6 platinum medallions. Obviously, this is not going to come as a surprise. The platinum medallions show up in tier 2. Obviously, those are huge cards, right? Legacy collection versus platinum medallion. Are they clearly A and then B, or do you think some may go in between depending on the year and the number?
I think the legacies deserve a higher ranking than the platinums. I would put the platinums over the starting 5, as I said. But the platinums, like, I don't know, like, to me, Flair Showcase was just a groundbreaking set, in so many ways, and like sets within a set, the concept of classes, the concept of, rows. I'm thinking of Gold Label, but then the masterpieces, serial numbers, like, so many innovations occurred in that. And Ultra, to me, doesn't have the same, like, serial numbers didn't start for a year later. The design, like, I love the 97 Ultra Platinum more than the other 2 years, but 96 is just specifically the Jordan and Kobe 96, like the photos used are incredible for the base cards. But I agree with you. I mean, like, you just can't, like, Flair Showcase, look at, the background photo with, Photoshop wasn't even around then probably. And, like, look at what they were able to pull off.
Look, when I open Flair packs, the stupid base cards look incredible to me. Like, the base, like, row 2 Jordan looks so much better than some of the inserts that were out there in the 90s. And you know how I feel about inserts in the 90s, but, like, just even the base Flair stuff looks fantastic to me.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, they're beautiful cards. And Ultra, you can't say the same. But I have a special place in my heart for, as you said before, starting 5, like, rare parallels that came from mass-produced packs. And, like, Ultra, it's similar. Like, Ultra were $295, $395 a pack back in the 90s.
Here's one.
So, right? Yeah, UD Choice, like Collector's Choice, same thing. Like, you had that I was going to say it earlier, that card, I had a guy reach out to me on Twitter during COVID. He found his childhood collection, and, like, that card was in there.
Oh my gosh.
Like, you had kids pulled those cards. Like, very few kids were opening EX or Flair Showcase. Some were, but, like, I'd go to a card shop and, like, it'd be the guys with money buying those packs. And metal was on the cusp. Like, metal was cheaper than, EX and Flair, but, like, Flair Showcase, remember, it had the thing on it, like, serious collectors only.
Yeah,
right.
I remember. Yeah. Well, the StarQuest Gold, like, if a kid pulls that out of one of these cheap ass Collector's Choice packs, they may see the red and say, damn, I got the red. It's Jordan's color. It looks awesome. And they may see the gold and flip it to the side without turning it over on the back. If they didn't read the outside of the wrapper, they may not know StarQuest Gold was special.
Well, I'll give you another one, like, on this topic. So you asked me stories in these cards, like the Skybox Rubies from 98. So a guy contacted me like 2 years ago not right there on the far right with him dribbling. So that card, like, I've had a copy of PSA 8 for a long time. It was BGS 8.5 crossed down. But then a guy contacted me 2 years ago. He's like, hey, I have my childhood collection. Or no, it was his father's child. This guy was young, like, teenager. It was his father's collection from the 90s. I don't think he was a child in the 90s, but he was probably in his 20s. Yeah, and he's like, he has all these cards, hundreds of thousands of cards. But he thinks this one's really good. And he sent me a photo on Instagram of that. And
that's right.
Well, get this. So he brings it in. I strike a deal with him. I paid a good price for it. It was during COVID, unfortunately. So, but, like, it's probably worth more today, thankfully. Flip it over. I didn't even notice I graded it. It was 23 out of 50.
No way. You brokered a deal before you looked at the serial number?
No. I submitted it for grading. I said, I'll buy it only if it passes through PSA, because I trust PSA. But I didn't look at it. I just said, if PSA grades it, I'll buy it. And
do you place? I know a premium exists, so I'm not here to argue about that for jersey numbers, serial numbers, and all that stuff. But do you place a premium? Would you rather the 23 and pay that premium, or would you rather 21 and buy it for what it's really worth?
The latter. I've never paid a premium for jerseys now. My Kobe PMG green is 8 out of 10 or 8 out of 100.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to have. Like, look, it's great to have, but like, did this exist? You've collected much longer than me, and I kind of took a decade off, got back in, took a decade off, got back in like 2016. But like in the early 2000s and in the 90s, did people ever place a premium on like serial numbers that match jerseys?
I don't remember in the 90s. I mean, I was a teenager. Like I wasn't playing with these guys, with the serial numbered cards. Like I couldn't afford them. So I mean, I had like the best card I had serial number would have been Vince Carter's SPX Finite rookie out of whatever that was, 1250 or 7, whatever. So like that, I couldn't tell you on those, but like when I started doing LeBron stuff in a big way in 2003, and like, yeah, it was a premium then. In fact, there's a guy, awesome guy, Mike, who had like every LeBron rookie 23 out of whatever. Like he had like 50 of the rookie cards serial number, jersey numbered of LeBron. It was it's so cool. But like he was onto that. I mean, it wasn't like the biggest thing, but I mean, there were people paying a premium for that in 2003, I remember. But yeah, I've never paid more for a card because it's jersey numbered.
I'm the same way. Like I'd almost rather, and look, I'll even go a step further. Like if I see, let's say a BGS 9.5, I'd rather stumble upon the Min Gem than upon the Gem Plus Plus. No, I just don't want to play that premium. I mean, it's Gem, and I don't want to pay the premium.
If I have two of them, I'll keep the jersey one just because it's cooler.
Sure.
But like that one, I sold or traded actually for the Chris Mullin PMG green.
How close are you on the green?
5.
Robert Pack. What else?
Brian Grant, Stockton, LaFonso Ellis, and Christian Laettner. 5
away.
Although I got a lead on one of them. I'm not going to say which, but one of the 5, literally this morning, an awesome Good Samaritan on Instagram sent me a profile of someone with one, which it blew my mind. Like, I'm so excited.
Because, you should save a search on eBay. I'm sure one will turn up in the next few days.
I'm scraping top reports. Yeah. But like,
I'm just kidding.
The Stockton, I know where there's a guy with a Stockton in Utah, a great PC collector. He just won't put it up. But I'm patient,
tough, man. Are you okay with that? Like I talk about it on my channel all the time. I say OCD and I throw the term around loosely. I don't think I'm diagnosed with OCD, but like I have issues with closure. Like I need closure.
Yeah.
And does it bother you that you're that close, or are you okay with it? Because you're first. I mean, you're first in line. Obviously, we know that. But like, does that wear on you? Do you think about it every day when you wake up, or do you have so much other shit going on?
I think about that set every day for sure. But it's not the collecting, the chase is as much fun as 100%, right? So like, I kind of don't want it to end.
100, I get it, man. 100%. Like it's unfathomable hitting the finish line. I tried to do it with the PMG Reds, and I got pretty dang close. And then I handed it over to a buddy of mine who took it across the finish line like quick. It was crazy how fast he did it. And I warned him, man. I warned him that as a set collector, I know the feeling, and this would have been my biggest achievement in the hobby. Yeah. And I was like, look, I know you're excited that I'm selling you these 45 cards, but I'm telling you right now, you're going to call me in about 3 weeks and you're going to complain. Yeah. You're going to talk about you're thinking about it all the time. You're not getting to buy the other cards you want because it's expensive and it's all you can think about, and you're going to have tunnel vision. I was like, I went through all that stuff. So call me. I'm going to talk you through it like your therapist, but trust me, in the long run, you're going to be glad you did it. And so
I agree.
It's
right,
just
I got to show you something sad regarding one of these cards.
Yeah. I got it.
So the top right, your card, you had this card up there.
Yeah.
Okay. So that card, I spent years looking for one. I bought 5 of these, looking for one that didn't have greening. So like, look at his jersey. It's pretty nice, right? Like, would you say like, you're familiar with this card, right? Like,
look, let me switch over. Look, there's yours. There's mine. Yours looks better than mine. That's that's mine. Yeah, for sure.
Right. So I spent years buying that. Okay. Yeah. I put it in a dark safe. I hadn't looked at it I bought it. You can see right there, 2012.
Yeah.
Okay. I took it out of the safe for the first time 3 months ago and crossed it. Unfortunately, I pulled it out of the safe and look what it looked like. It's now in a PSA. Let's see if this will load. If not, I'll switch over. But yeah, here it is.
Unbelievable.
So that's the same card. I graded this literally 3 months ago. I pulled it out in that 10-year process.
So luckily that was you, Nat, because you know what the average person would say. PSA, switch my card out. PSA, change my card.
Look,
Change the color of my card.
Same serial number.
Yeah. Nat, that's nuts. And so that goes back to the point.
I haven't shown anyone that yet because I just got this grade back.
That's crazy.
I mean,
it's not light. We've talked about that. It's not light. It's not
light. I guarantee you. I think I'm not a scientist, but like I have to think it's from contact. And with humidity or so, I have dehumidifiers and like all sorts. Like it's not light. This thing was in a dark safe from 2012 until 2023. And
it looked good when it was in the case and you took it out to hand it over to cross it over, right? It looked like that.
No. I took it before I crossed it, like 3 months ago. I took it out, still in its BGS holder. It had turned green.
It had turned in the BGS holder. Okay. Yeah. I was curious. Yeah. Because I was curious because if that's the case.
It happened during that 10 years.
Okay.
While it was in the safe.
Yeah.
It changed from that to what I showed you.
It makes me want to go buy every 93 finest refractor, no matter what it looks like. Because right now, there's such a premium on colored, vibrant colored refractors. But I think a lot of these cards
makes me so sad. Like, I spent years looking for a good one, like 2 or 3 years. I finally found one. And then 10 years later, so.
Well, now,
in fact, I didn't believe it when I got this scan because I didn't even look at it that close.
Yeah.
But like I was like, oh, it looks a little green, and then
now they look identical. Like there must be a certain level that they can get to. Like mine looks.
It could just be like they all do that. It's just
they get to the same exact coloration. That's the floor right there.
Inevitable. Yeah, it could just be that. I don't think it's a BGS or PSA thing. I mean, I think it could be a lighting or temperature or temperature humidity thing. But yeah. Anyway,
that's nuts, man. That's nuts. Yeah. Tell me this. Just general Nat Turner questions that a lot of people are going to want to know the answer to from a collector perspective. You are a humongous set collector. I know you've got, how many sets do you think you're in the process of trying to complete? I know you've got a bunch completed, but how many are you in the process of trying to complete right now? If you had to guess.
I would guess over 100. I mean, I'm pulling up my PSA Set Registry. I mean, I'm doing all of them, not all of them on the set registry. I'm doing most. That includes vintage baseball, but if you include vintage baseball, it's probably like, let me see, I'll tell you, it's going to be over 100. It's a lot. I mean, I used to be the only guy in the set registry doing a lot of these 90s sets from basketball. Like I still am the only guy doing like platinum medallion.
Yeah.
97, 98. I'm doing a lot of 03 sets. All right, here it is. It loaded. I've got 213 sets. Sorry. But I'm probably actively pursuing. Oh, here I switched over. But yeah, I'm probably actively pursuing. I would say half of these. So
how are you pursuing them? How much time in a day? And I know you're a busy dude. I'm pretty damn busy. You're probably busier than me. How do you? I mean, every day you just search all your eBay safe searches, and then
look at you see my. Oh, you can't see it. Well, like here, like this is just metal. So I'm doing 97 metal. Championship PMG, platinum portraits, metal, I've finished 3 of them, and then you can see my progress. I got NFL in here. I don't know, like I've talked about this forever. I do, not that you listen to everything, but like I spend 3 hours a night. Like after the kids go to bed, I switch over from doing work and I go pure personal collecting mode, and I've built all these, little scrapers that I'm like looking for stuff, like my own alerting systems. And, I love Instagram. I mean, I get 50 plus DMs a day. I would say 2 to 3 of them are like people that are in like the request. So I'm not following, and they're like, hey, I have this card. Is it worth anything? And 1 out of 100 of those is a good card that I need.
Right.
And, I mean, forums, email. I mean, it's awesome. Like it's so much fun.
Look, I speak for everybody in the hobby on this one. Rarely do I speak for other people, but I do. Like we take great comfort that, and I don't this to sound like I'm sweating you, but like it is very comforting to us that somebody in your position cares this much about cards. This is nothing new, but it's just really refreshing. I get communication all the time about my channel, and then they're like, thank you for talking about cards. Thank you for not talking about he scammed her, or, this company robbed this company, or this card's fake. Thank you for talking about cards. And so it's just refreshing to have you on here and like literally just talk about damn cards, because we could do this for hours upon hours.
Before we jumped on, like my whole day is Zooms and work, and like I was looking forward to this break.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm doing a lot of sets. So I wish there were more set collectors for this stuff. Too many people just do which is fine. There's cards are expensive. Like
I talk about this on the channel, Nat. Let me know what you think about this. I don't believe set collecting is dead, and I don't even believe it's dying. I just believe it's evolved to where, I mean, when you PC a player, that's in essence, you're set collecting. You're just collecting all of that player's cards. It's just a bigger set. It's an unattainable bigger set. So I think that vibe and that, you know, the thing that we did in the 80s, and you're younger than me, but the thing that we did in the 80s where we tried to put together the baseball sets, one through whatever, people are doing the same type of thing. They're just doing it in a different way. So I think that bug is still out there and it's alive and well.
It is. Yeah, I'll tell you, it's set registry for PSA. I mean, I can speak to that only. I mean, it's never been more used. Like it's
for sure
up and to the right, thankfully, on activity and engagement. Like we're getting more and more sets that are being created. People are chasing those sets, but it's interesting. It's skews still to vintage and 80s.
No doubt.
Yeah, 90s. Like you'll see at the I don't want to divulge too much, but like at the national, you know, our set registry awards, we're bringing more modern in, you know, like we're rewarding collectors who, because like arguably these modern sets are way harder to complete than vintage. You know, vintage, just like how much money are you willing to spend? You know, how much money are you willing to spend to get a 10? But in the 90s stuff, it's like, can you just find the card in the first place? Like the grades are relevant. You know, on some of the rare stuff, like I think of Spinatron Dingy, like he completed the EX Now and Future set, including the 1/1s from 97. That's insane.
That's insane.
Like I would take that over the 52 Topps highest graded set. Like
that's insane. That is literally yeah.
Not talked about like that might be the best set accomplishment I've ever heard of.
It might be.
Yeah. Like I've been trying for years.
Let me ask you this: 2012 gold Prism. Yeah, you're chasing that one.
I am. Yeah, I've just picked up Beal, which I needed. Bradley Beal. I think that's the only Panini one I'm like.
I've got a buddy here in town who's got a fascination with his move is he swims in different waters than you, but his move is he wants to buy all of these commons 2012 Prism Golds in the hope that people are gonna one day set collect that, like with the PMG Reds and the Greens. And I was like, it's not a bad idea. You know, and he's buying the commons, you know, the Steve Novaks or whatever the hell, you know, and he's all excited about it. So he demanded that I ask you about that set and about the 2012 Prism Golds.
Well, here, I'll share my screen again. Like if
you please.
Like I'm the only one on the set registry with that set. That's a good example. And so I'm 88% the way through.
That's big time.
But like, I'll show you another example, like in metal, like I used to be the only one for reds. Where's red? Right here. So like, I'm done with this set.
Yep.
But like, I was the only one on the set for a long time. And now look at it. We've got 6 people. I mean, it's still not like vintage baseball, but
number 4, that's my buddy. That's he took my set and ran with it. Yeah. And then Stanley is number 5. Yep. We know Stanley. And then of course
Brady Hill's here. Here's Nas.
Brady's 3. Yep.
I give Nas crap because like I finished the set first, but he graded it with PSA first. And so but he also has a better rating because his grades are, which is awesome. His set's beautiful.
It is.
But like the point is I was the only one there for like a decade. And then now there's 6. It's awesome.
And Nas is working on a second one, as far as I know. I think he is. Yeah, I don't know if he's got it in there. I think he's trying to keep it quiet, but he's
like, you know, that's a really expensive. Like I'm aware enough. Like that is a really expensive set. You know, like I'm not expecting people to jump in, but like, you know, Rubies is another one. Like 97 Rubies. There's now one other, but he's got, you know, his 1.6%. You know, like that's an amazing. Like you had the Jordan on there. Like that's an awesome set, and like you can buy commons for under $100. So, you know, if you don't care about the grade, which you shouldn't on that set. So,
anyway, serial number to 50. Good Lord.
Wow.
Look, man, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you joining the show. Hopefully we'll get you on again. I'm going to see you in Chicago for sure. And looking very much forward to it. I've heard Chicago is better than Atlantic City. I don't know if you can call out cities or whatever, but from what I've heard, Chicago is awesome because the hotel is attached and everybody's right there. And it's just a little bit more of a community kind of feel to it.
It's great. I mean, it's not in Chicago. I mean, it is, but it's unfortunately, you know, way near the airport. But
yeah.
It's awesome. Way better than AC for sure.
Okay. Well, good.
Yeah. See you there.
Well, Yeah, anything I can do for you, anything my channel it can help in any way, let me know. I'd be happy to do it. I appreciate you taking my messages with questions about intricate, highly sophisticated, detailed Jordan stuff along the way. I might hit you up as I get further down in these tiers to clarify some stuff. I've had Josh Dawson on the channel and Frank Ian, and those guys are obviously full of information, but we're going to make mistakes along the way. So it's always nice to have another sounding board in you. And so I might reach out to you.
Yeah, you got it, man. Anytime.
Cool, man. We'll get back to business and get back to the Zoom meetings. I'm sorry this can't go forever, but I appreciate you joining.
All right, you bet. See you, Brian.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Nat. All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Keep collecting. Stay positive in the hobby. And peace.